Okay. Shabbat shalom, everyone, all of our brothers and sisters out there. Shalom to everyone seeing us on Facebook and will be seeing us on YouTube later today. We are the Wakened by Yahuwah Fellowship Assembly in Yahuwah Almighty and Yahushua Messiah. And we will be doing a Torah portion this week. So we're going to start off. I'm going to get my shared screen going here with the eSword here. We're going to start off with Exodus 1 to Exodus 6. So chapter 1 to chapter 6 here. So just bear with me, everyone. Here. Let me just, and anyone who's not reading, please just mute yourselves, okay, so that there's no background noise going. Okay, all right, so Exodus chapter 1 to chapter 6. Let me put the parallel on here. Okay, let me just fix, no, we want SPE with Brenton. There we go. Here we go. These are the names of the sons of Yasharal that came into Egypt together with Jacob their father. They came in each with their whole family. Interesting. Looks like Samaritan Pentateuch's missing a little something there. Pretty interesting. Anyway, moving on. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and notice how in the Greek, Judas. Okay, so Yehuda Iscariot had the same name as the person Yehuda. Pretty interesting. Okay, and Issachar, Zabulon, Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. But Joseph was in Egypt, and all the souls born of Jacob, or to Jacob, were 75. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. So notice how the Greek uses the word generation to mean referring to his family, his genealogy. That is definitely important to note there. Okay. And the children of Yasharal increased and multiplied and became numerous and grew exceedingly strong, and the land multiplied them. And there arose another king over Egypt who knew not Joseph. And I would just like to show something pretty cool in verse 8 here that I found a while ago. Let me see here. Do I have my ABP Plus here? Yeah. I want to go to verse 8 and just show you what the word another is from the Greek real quick. Okay. G2087, heteros. Okay. Which can mean of another kind. Now, if this stupid thing would stop doing that, that would be great. Well, that's great. It doesn't want to do it right now. Anyway, it means of certain affinity, other or different, altered. Interesting. Else, something else, strange. Interesting. All I'm going to say is in Isaiah 52:7, it says they were taken away forcibly by the Assyrians. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But if you want to know more about that on a whole different topic, we do have a video on the channel. Who is the Assyrian? A non-Egyptian pharaoh. So if you are interested in that, you might want to check it out at some time. It's on my channel. All right. So anyway, verse 9, and he said to his nation, behold the ethnicity of the children, and my stupid camera is all screwed up. Whatever. I'm going to stop the video. I'll keep it on the shared screen here, but I'll stop my personal video. And he said to his nation, behold, the ethnicity of the children of Yasharal is great, a great multitude, and is stronger than we. Come, let us deal craftily with them, lest at any time be increased, and whensoever war shall happen to us, these also shall be added to our enemies. And having prevailed against us in war, they will depart out of the land. Kind of sounds similar to what happened with the Atlantic slave trade, really. Kind of sounds similar, you know. Didn't that happen, Mom, with African Americans? Like when they were being treated harshly in the 30s and 40s, the Americans would enlist them in war to fight against other countries.
I believe so.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like that same type of spirit was in America at that point. You know, we're afraid of them. They're really numerous. Let's make sure they're on our side. You know, so that's kind of interesting. And he set over them taskmasters who should afflict them in their works, and they built strong cities for Pharaoh, both Pitho and Ramesses, and On, which is Heliopolis. So that's interesting. The Septuagint tells you the city of On is Heliopolis. Interesting. But as they humbled them by so much, they multiplied and grew exceedingly. So sometimes that word humbled is just referring to being physically afflicted, like actually harsh labor. You can be humbled by labor. So anyway, come on. All right. So much they grew exceedingly strong, and the Egyptians greatly abhorred the children of Yasharal. So agreed, but we'll be moving on here. That's pretty interesting. The SP says grieved, kind of watering it down there. And the Egyptians tyrannized over the children of Yasharal by force. So if there was any doubts in our minds whether this was willful labor or being forced, we'll see it in verse 13 right there. It's force. They embittered their life by hard labors in the clay and in the brick making and all the works in the plains, according to all the works wherein they caused them to serve with violence. And the king of the Egyptians spoke to the midwives of the Hebrews. The name of the one was Zephora, and the second Phua or Pua. And he said, when you do the service of the midwives to the Hebrew women, and they are about to be delivered, if it be male, kill it. But if a female, save it. Okay. And don't they do something similar in China, Mom?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Seems like that type of tyrannical ordinance has gone all the way around the world.
I think they still do that in China.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to have one child, and if the woman has a baby girl, they either kill it or they send them out into remote farm areas. And oh, you should see the horrifying stuff that they do to the little girls. They tie them up on a bench, all the girls. They tie their legs to posts. They never get to move. It's like a bench, 4 to a bench, maybe 5. And then they have a little holes where they go to the bathroom, and they just drop their potty right there, but they never get to walk. They don't get to get around, nothing. They tie them up. It's pure torture. I shared a video on Facebook, so maybe you can go down my line. They're still doing that today.
Wow, that's horrible. Yeah. But the midwives feared Elohim and did not as the king appointed them, and they saved the male children alive. And the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, why is it that you have done this thing and saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, the Hebrew women are not as the women of Egypt, for they are delivered before the midwives go into them. So they bore children. And Elohim did well to the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very strong. And as the midwives feared Elohim, they established for themselves families. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, whatever male child shall be born to the Hebrews, cast into the river, and every female save it alive. So we'll see later on as we go through the scriptures and we start getting through the Besor accounts eventually with these portions, the importance of the fact that it's the male child that Pharaoh wanted to get rid of all the male children. You're going to see even a parallel later on in the Brit Hadashah with him and what is the guy's name? Herod.
Herod the Great.
Herod the Great wanted to get rid of every male child of the Hebrews and to make sure that the Messiah wouldn't be born. So
all part of Satan's plan. Yep.
Yeah. And there was a certain man of the tribe of Levi who took 2 wives. So now we're in Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. Okay, so who took the wife of one of the daughters of Levi, and she conceived and bore a male child. And having seen that he was fair, they hid him 3 months. And when they could no longer hide him, his mother took for him an ark and besmeared it with bitumen and cast the child into it and put it into the ooze by the river. And his sister was watching from a distance to learn what would happen to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to the river to bathe, and her maiden walked by the riverside, and having seen the ark in the ooze, she sent her maid and took it up. And having opened it, she sees the baby weeping in the ark. And the daughter of Pharaoh had compassion on it and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." And his sister said to the daughter of Pharaoh, "Will you," this is interesting, the sister of Masha, that's interesting. "Will you that I call to you a nurse of the Hebrews, and shall she suckle the child for you?" That's interesting. So Miriam went to the daughter of Pharaoh? That's interesting. I never knew that. And the daughters of Pharaoh said, "Go," and the young woman went and called the mother of the child. And the daughter of Pharaoh said to her, "Take care of this child and suckle it for me, and I will give you the wages." And the woman took the child and suckled it. And when the boy was grown, she brought him to the daughter of Pharaoh, and he became her son. And she called him Masha, saying, "I took him out of the water." And it came to pass in the length of time that Masha, having grown, went out to his brothers, the sons of Yashar-al. And having noticed their distress, he saw an Egyptian smiting a certain Hebrew of his brothers, the children of Yashar-al. And having looked around this way and that way, he saw no one, and he smote that Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And having gone out the second day, he sees the 2 Hebrew men fighting. And he says to the injurer, "Wherefore smites thou your neighbor?" Basically, why did you smite your neighbor? Notice here, who is Moses calling this guy's neighbor? A fellow Israelite.
Yeah, they were both
Just
Hebrews, yeah.
Just saying, okay? So who is our neighbor, okay? Just saying.
Yeah, I know, you're just saying. I got it.
He said, "Who made you a ruler and a judge over us? Will you slay me as you yesterday slew the Egyptian?" When Masha was alarmed and said, "If it be thus, this matter has become known." And Pharaoh heard this matter and sought to slay Masha, and Masha departed from the presence of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, or Midian, as the Greek has it. And having come into the land of Midian, he sat on the well. And the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, feeding the flock of their father Uthor. And they came and drew water until they filled their pitchers to water the flock of their father Yothor, or Uther, however it's supposed to be pronounced there. And the shepherds came and were driving them away, and Masha rose up and rescued them and drew water for them and watered their sheep. I can't help but see like a prophetic parallel here with Yahusha. You got these false shepherds scattering the flock in verses 16 to 17. Masha comes along, a true shepherd of Yahuwah, gives them water out of a well. I mean, it's hard not to see the connection there. It's really hard. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hallelujah. And they came to Raguel. So for some reason, Masha's future father-in-law had two different names. He had Yothor, Euthur, and Raguel, their father. And he said to them, "Why have you come so quickly today?" And they said, "An Egyptian delivers us from the shepherds and drew water for us and watered our sheep." And he said to his daughters, "Where is he? Why have you left the man? Call him, therefore, that he may eat bread." And Masha was established with the man, and he gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Masha to wife. And the woman conceived and bore a son, and Masha called his name Gershom, saying, "I am a sojourner in a strange land." And in those days, after the length of time, the king of Egypt died, and the children of Yasharal groaned because of their tasks and cried, and their cry because of their tasks went up to Elohim. And Elohim heard their groanings, and Elohim remembered his covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Elohim looked upon the children of Yasharal and was made known to them. It's very interesting. That's a very interesting part of the story that the movies seem to leave out. He was made known to them. Interesting. Even in the Ten Commandments movie, it's like they don't know who he is. They're like, the God with no name, and they're shocked. They really don't know who Yahuwah is, like the way the movies portray it. It's very interesting. So anyway, chapter 3. And Masha was feeding the flock of Yuthor, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he brought the sheep near to the wilderness and came to the mountain of Horeb. And the angel of Yahuwah appeared to him in a flaming fire out of the bush. And he saw that the bush burns with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Masha said, "I will go near and see this great sight, why the bush is not consumed." And when Yahuwah, now notice how it jumps from the angel of Yahuwah to Yahuwah, like literally in one verse, saw that he drew near to see, Yahuwah called him. Like, do we really think that Yahusha and Yahuwah would have enough time to switch out if it's not the same person there, like within a millisecond? And when Yahuwah saw that he drew near to see, Yahuwah called him out of the bush, saying, "Masha, Masha." And he said, "What is it?" And he said, "Draw not near here. Loose your sandals from off your feet, for the place whereon you stand is set apart ground." And he said, "I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, the Elohim of Jacob." And Masha turned away his face, for he was afraid to gaze at Elohim. And Yahuwah said to Masha, "I have surely seen the affliction of my people that is in Egypt. And I have heard their cry caused by their taskmasters, for I have known their affliction. I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them out of the land, and to bring them into a good and wide land, into a land flowing with milk and honey, into the place of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Ivites, and Jebusites." Okay, so this continues the covenant promise he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the land he promised to his descendants, the seed of Abraham. Okay, and now behold, the cry of the children of Yasharal is come to me, and I have seen the affliction with which the Egyptians afflict them. And now come, I will send you to the Pharaoh of Egypt, and you shall bring out my people, the children of Yasharal, from the land of Egypt. And Moshe said to Elohim, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that I should bring out the children of Yasharal from the land of Egypt? And Elohim spoke to Moshe, saying, I will be with you, and this shall be the sign to you that I shall send you forth when you bring out my people out of Egypt. Then you shall serve Elohim in this mountain. And Moshe said to Elohim, behold, I shall go forth to the children of Yasharal and say to them, the Elohim of our fathers has sent me to you. And they will ask me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And Elohim spoke to Moshe, saying, I am he who exists. I'm paraphrasing right now from the Brens, but the Lexham English Septuagint that I believe my mom has in front of her would say, I am he who exists. So the Septuagint gives you the definition of the phrase Ahaya Shar Ahaya. And he said, thus shall you say to the children of Yasharal, the one who exists has sent me to you. And Elohim said again to Moshe, thus shall you say to the sons of Yasharal, Yahuwah, the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, the Elohim of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever. Very key here. Forever. This is his name. Doesn't change. And my memorial to generations of generations. Might as well say eternity of eternities. Might as well. Because that would be the context there of generations to generation. It never ends.
Right.
Go then and gather the elders of the children of Yasharal, and you shall say to them, Yahuwah Elohim of our fathers has appeared to me, and the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, the Elohim of Jacob, saying, I surely looked upon you and upon all the things which have happened to you in Egypt. And he said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of the Egyptians to the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, the Ivites, Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to my voice, and you and the elders of Yasharal shall go into Pharaoh of Egypt, and you shall say to him, the Elohim of the Hebrews has called us. We will go then a journey of 3 days into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to our Elohim. So we see, obviously, there was a humanly priesthood here even before the Levitical priesthood. And at that point in time, there wasn't, specific places to sacrifice. So, keep in mind here, this is pre-Mount Sinai, pre-Levitical priesthood. Technically the law of Moses has not even been given yet. So just keep that in mind with them being able to sacrifice, in the wilderness. But I know that the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, will not let you go, save with a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite the Egyptians with all my wonders, and I shall work among them, which I shall work among them. And after that, he will send you forth, and I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Whenever you shall escape, you shall not depart empty. But every woman shall ask of her neighbor and fellow lodger articles of silver and apparel, and you shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and you shall spoil the Egyptians, or you spoil the Egyptians. I forget what ye means in modern English. Okay. You spoil the Egyptians. Okay, thanks, Mom. All right, so we're about to start chapter 4. I'm noticing I'm having a little bit of trouble scrolling down the screen, so let me just get I'm gonna get a mouse real quick. Yeah, my Logitech wireless mouse here. This will help me a little bit. Yeah. All right, here we go. Make it a little easier here for me. All right, so chapter 4 of Exodus. All right. Moshe answered and said, if they believe me not, and do not hearken to my voice, for they will say, Elohim has not appeared to you, what shall I say to them? And Yahuwah said, I don't know why it says my connection's unstable. That's stupid. And Yahuwah said to him, what is this thing that is in your hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moshe fled from it. Now, something I want to check here in chapter 4, verse 4 is sometimes it's not supposed to be serpent. So that's something I want to check real quick. Sometimes these translators traditionally put things that shouldn't be there. Let me see here. And it became, let's see here. Where does it talk about? Hold on. Here we go. G3. Okay, this is serpent. Okay, snake. Yeah, Ophis. G3, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I just wanted to check. Just double check. Yeah, go ahead, Gibson's.
So the word that
Oops,
the word
my
that's
screen is going crazy.
the word that's used there from when he throws it down before the other Israelites is different than the word of where he throws it down before Pharaoh.
Okay. Okay, so in Exodus 7. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, I remember somewhere where it was different. I remember somewhere where it was not the same word, even in the Greek. Yep. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Brother Joshua. So let's see here. Okay, I was at verse 4, I think. Yahuwah stretched forth to Moshe, said to Moshe, stretch forth your hand and take hold of its tail. And he stretched forth his hand, took hold of the tail, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe you that the Elohim of your fathers has appeared to you, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, the Elohim of Jacob. And Yahuwah said again to him, put forth your hand into your bosom. And he said, and he put his hand into his bosom and brought forth his hand out of his bosom, and his hand became as snow. And there's certain groups out there in the Torah keeping community that want to use this verse and support that. That means he was definitely black. Okay. All it's saying is that his hand became as snow. If my hand becomes as snow, obviously you can't see me right now because my droid
It says
came.
leprous in my Bible.
Well, yeah, in the Septuagint it says become as snow. So
Okay.
so basically the point I'm trying to make here is a white person's hand can become like snow.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you're dark skinned. Just saying. Just want to point that out there. That doesn't really matter what color your skin is. It can turn white as snow. So okay. Anyway, verse 7. And he said again, put your hand into your bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom and brought his hand out of his bosom, and it was again restored to the complexion of his other flesh. Okay. And if they will not believe you, nor hearken to the voice of the first sign, they will believe you because of the voice of the second sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe you for these two signs, and will not hearken to your voice, that you shall take of the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which you shall take from the river shall be blood upon the dry land. And Moshe said to Yahuwah, I pray Yahuwah, I have not been sufficient in former times, neither from the time that you have begun to speak to your servant. I am weak in speech and slow-tongued, meaning he's not a public speaker. He's not someone that could be a public speaker. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, who has given a mouth to man to, mankind, who has made the very hard of hearing, who has made the deaf, or those that can't hear, the seeing, the blind, have not I, Elohim? And now go, and I will open your mouth and will instruct you in what you shall say. And Masha said, I pray Yahuwah, appoint another able person whom you shall send. And Yahuwah was greatly angered. So the Septuagint makes it even more amplified here. It doesn't just say angered, kindled. It says greatly angered against Masha, and said, Lo, is not Aaron, the Levite, your brother? I know that he will surely speak to you. And behold, he will come forth to meet you. And beholding you, he will rejoice within himself. And you shall speak to him, and you shall put my words into his mouth. And I will open your mouth and his mouth, and I will instruct you in what you shall do. And he shall speak for you to the people, and he shall be your mouth, and you shall be for him in things pertaining to Elohim. Not that he's going to be a Elohim. Okay? Very, very key phrase to take that whole phrase in context. In things pertaining to Elohim. Okay?
But we really see Yahuwah's mercy right here
Yeah.
on Moses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We really do.
And this rod that was turned into, I wonder if this is still Ophis here. I kind of wonder. It possibly is. But I know chapter 7, when we get there eventually, Yahuwah willing, next week, we're going to see how sometimes the translator's not being honest with the word and puts serpent there where it shouldn't be. But I think serpent is supposed to be here in this verse. Was turned into a serpent, you shall take in your hand, wherewith you shall work miracles. And Masha went and returned to Uthor, his father-in-law, and says, I will go and return to my brothers in Egypt, and will see if they are yet living. And Uthor said to Masha, go in health. And in those days after some time, the king of Egypt died. And Yahuwah said to Masha and Medium, go depart. Stupid thing. I hate it when it does that. I think I was at verse 18 of chapter 4 there. Let me just go back here. Stupid app.
Actually starting 19.
19, right? Yeah, that's what I figured. All right. Yeah. And Yahuwah said to Masha and Midian, go depart into Egypt, for all they that sought your life are dead. Sometimes Brenton, man, his English is oof. Sometimes he doesn't do his sentences too well there. Okay. All right. And Masha took his wife and his children and mounted them on the beasts and returned to Egypt. And Masha took the rod which he had from Elohim in his hand. And Yahuwah said to Masha, when you go and return to Egypt, see all the miracles I have charged you with. You shall work before Pharaoh, and I will harden his heart. And he shall certainly not send away the people. And you shall say to Pharaoh, these things says Yahuwah, Yasharal is my firstborn. That's very prophetic there. With the whole Ephraim Manasseh thing that we read, I think a week or so ago in Genesis 48:19. And I said to you, send away my people that they may serve me. Now, if you will not send them away, see, I will slay their firstborn son. And it came to pass that the angel of Yahuwah met him by the way in the inn. Oh, now we're getting into some interesting differences here. This is going to be some interesting differences. And Zephora, having taken a stone, cut off the foreskin of her son and fell at his feet and said, I don't like how he translates this into English, Bren, so I'm going to go with the Complete Apostles Bible here because it's a little bit more accurate in verse 25. The word staunched is a very old British word, so rather use something a little bit more modern. Okay. you're going to see a huge difference even. I forget if the Samaritan Pentateuch agrees with the Masoretic on this matter or not, so we'll see here. Cut off the foreskin of her son and fell at his feet and said, the blood of the circumcision of my son is established. Which makes a lot more sense, the blood of the covenant. Okay. Now, wow, even the Samaritan Pentateuch for some reason agrees with the Masoretic here. Surely a bloody husband you are to me. What? So it makes Zephora, the Masoretes, and even the Samaritan Pentateuch, whoever did the Samaritan Pentateuch originally, is making Zephora out to be like a hostile wife for no reason, just because her son had to be circumcised. She's mad at Masha. But if we look at the Septuagint here, it says, and he departed from him because she said, the blood of the circumcision of my son is established, meaning the angel of Yahuwah departed from him. His wrath was no longer on Masha. We don't really have, everyone in this fellowship is not fully on board with certain other manuscripts that would agree with the Septuagint. So all I'm going to say, I'm just going to reference that there are other manuscripts that agree with the Septuagint on this matter, that Zephora was actually, she was not angry at Masha for circumcising her son at all. So other manuscripts would actually agree with the Septuagint over the Masoretic and the Samaritan Pentateuch. So that's pretty interesting. So anyway, the blood of the circumcision of my son is established. So we just read that. And Yahuwah said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Masha. Went and met him in the mountain of Elohim, and they kissed each other. Okay. And Masha reported to Aaron all the words of Yahuwah, which he sent, in all things which he charged him. Okay. And Masha and Aaron went and gathered in the elders of the children of Yasharal. And Aaron spoke all these words, which Elohim spoke to Masha, and worked the miracles before the people. Okay. And the people believed and rejoiced because Elohim visited the children of Yasharal, and because he saw their affliction, the people bowed down and reverenced. Probably should say there, or did obeisance. Okay, let's see here. Exodus chapter 5. And let me just make sure everyone's all right here. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. So anyway, the other manuscripts I was referencing before is the Targums actually agree with the Septuagint, verses 26 to 27. So if you want to study that out for yourself, test it for yourself, you'll see the majority of the older manuscripts agree with the Septuagint that Zephora was actually grateful because the blood atoned for her husband. And I have a question here that so basically, yeah, the Rab went. I don't know if we're gonna get to it today, everyone. But when we get into Exodus 7, instead of it saying Moses will be a god or a Elohim, it actually says he will be a Rab or rabbi to Pharaoh, a master to Pharaoh. And it says that Aaron would be his interpreter. To me, that makes a lot more sense than the fact that a lot of people misconstrue Elohim, that Elohim's always talking about deity. It's not always talking about deity. Sometimes Elohim just means a judge, human judge, ruler, master of someone. So rabbi is actually used, though, in the Aramaic manuscripts of the Targums for, I think it's Exodus 7, verse 1, if you want to check that out for yourself. But we're obviously not going to get to that today, though. So anyway, Exodus chapter 5. And after this, Masha and Aaron went into Pharaoh, and they said to him, thus says Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, let my people go, that they may keep a feast to me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is he that I should listen to his voice, so that I should send away the children of Yasharal? I do not know Yahuwah, and I will not let Yasharal go. And they said to him, the Elohim of the Hebrews has called us to him. We will go therefore on a 3 days journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to Yahuwah our Elohim, lest at any time death or slaughter happen to us. And the king of Egypt said to them, why do you, Moshe and Aaron, turn the people from their works? Depart each of you to your works. Pharaoh said, behold now, the people are very numerous. Let us not then give them rest from their work. And Pharaoh gave orders to the taskmasters of the people and the accountants, saying, wow, that's a very modern term there. Okay. You shall no longer give straw to the people for brick making as yesterday and the third day, but let them go themselves and collect straw for themselves. And you shall impose on them. Whoops. Okay. Kind of went down. Yeah. All right. So, and you shall impose on them daily the rate of the brick making which they perform. You shall not reduce anything, for they are idle. Therefore have they cried, saying, let us arise and do sacrifice to our Elohim. And really, this mindset is the same mindset of America today. Your boss, I'm pretty sure any one of our brothers and sisters can attest to this. Our bosses are like, oh, you're idle, you're lazy, you don't want to work Saturday for us, you know. You don't want to work on the Sabbath for us, or you're asking for all these feast days off. I've had bosses complain. I've had bosses complain to me because of that. So, anyway, verse 9, let the works of these men be made grievous, and let them care for these things and not care for vain words. So they're considering Yahuwah's words vain. That's how the world looks at it. And the taskmasters and the accountants hastened to them, and they spoke to the people, saying, thus says Pharaoh, I will give straw to you no longer. Go yourselves, for yourselves straw wherever you can find it, for nothing is diminished from your rate. So the people were dispersed in all the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. And the taskmasters hastened them, saying, fulfill your regular daily tasks, even as straw was given to you. And the accountants of the race of the ethnicity, or you could say race of the children of Yasharal, who were set over them by the taskmasters, by the masters of Pharaoh, were scourged and were asked, why have you not fulfilled your rates of brickwork as yesterday and the third day and today also? And the accountants of the children of Yasharal went in and cried to Pharaoh, saying, why do you act thus to your servants? Straw is not given to your servants. And they tell us to make bricks, and behold, your servants have been scourged, therefore you will injure your people. And he said to them, you are idle. You are idlers. Therefore you say, let us go and do sacrifice to our Elohim. Now then, go and work, for straw shall not be given to you. Yet you shall return the rate of bricks. And the accounts of the children of Yasharal saw themselves in an evil plight, for men were saying, you shall not fail to deliver the daily rate of the brick making. And they met Moshe and Aaron, coming forth to meet them as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said to them, Yahuwah look upon you and judge you, for you have made our present abominable before Pharaoh and before his servants, to put a sword unto his hands to kill us. And Moshe turned to Yahuwah and said, I pray, O Yahuwah, why have you afflicted this people, and why have you sent me? For from the time that I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, and obviously this can refer to Yahuwah's authority, his personality, not just his the pronunciation of his name or his proper name. Okay. He has afflicted this people, and you have not delivered your people. So now we're going to go to chapter 6 of Exodus. Here we go. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh, for he shall send them forth with a mighty hand, and with a high arm shall he cast them out of his land. And Elohim spoke to Moshe and said to him, I am Yahuwah. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, being their Elohim, but I did not manifest my name to them, my name Yahuwah to them. Now, we can go through this a whole nother day, a whole nother time about verse 3 here and how it's mistranslated in certain translations. I personally believe that Yahuwah was posing this as a rhetorical question, that it actually should be translated in the English as, didn't I manifest my name to them? Mainly due to the fact, if you go through all the times in Genesis, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob call upon Yahuwah, they knew his name. And obviously Genesis was written before Exodus, I would think, so, so anyway, so that's my point of view on it. I don't believe that verse is saying that like the patriarchs never knew his name. I think that would be a huge contradiction with the rest of the Torah. So anyway, verse 4, and I establish my covenant with them to give them the land of the Canaanites, the land in which they sojourned, in which also they dwelt as strangers. And I heard the groaning of the children of Yasharal, the affliction with which the Egyptians enslaved them, and I remembered the covenant with you. Go speak to the children of Yasharal and saying, I am Yahuwah, and I will lead you forth from the tyranny of the Egyptians, and I will deliver you from bondage, and I will ransom you with a high arm and great judgment. Obviously, we know this high arm, this outstretched arm Yahuwah keeps reiterating is Yahusha, his son, the Messiah. Okay. And I will take you to me as a people. And in the Septuagint, you'll see that a lot. The phrasing, instead of my people, will be as a people, which is a direct parallel to, that's how we know the New Testament's quoting the Septuagint, because later on in Hebrews, and I think it's chapter 8, verse 8, it actually uses the phrasing, a people to me, instead of my people. So that's just a little tidbit I thought I would include there. I will take you to me as a people unto myself. I will be your Elohim, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out from the tyranny of the Egyptians. And I will bring you into the land concerning which I stretched out my hand. Again, his hand, the right hand of Yahuwah, to give it to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I will give it to you for inheritance. I am Yahuwah. And Moshe spoke thus to the sons of Yasharal, and they hearkened not to Moshe on account of the faint hardness and for their hard tasks. Okay. This is weird here. Why is something missing here? That's pretty strange. I don't know. The verse numbers might be a little bit off too. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, go and speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and send forth the children of Yasharal out of this land. Out of his land. And Moshe spoke before Yahuwah, saying, behold, the children of Yasharal hearken not to me, and how shall Pharaoh hearken to me? And I am not eloquent. Okay. So again, the mentioning of uncircumcised lips is not even in the Septuagint. That's kind of funny. That's interesting. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aaron and gave them a charge to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he should send forth the children of Yasharal out of the land of Egypt. Oops. Okay. Why does it keep doing that? Stupid thing. I hate that. I hate that with a passion. Mom, we're in what verse?
You were just going to start verse 14
Yeah.
in chapter 6.
Okay. So we're almost done here. All right. So verse 14. And these are the heads of the houses of their families, the sons of Reuben. Firstborn of Yasharal were Hanak, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These are the families of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Yamuel, Yamin, Uhad, Yachin, Zuhar, Shaul, the son of a Phoenician woman. Interesting. These are the families of the sons of Simeon, and these are the names of the sons of Levi, according to their families: Gershon, Kohath, or Kuhath, Merari, and the years of the life of Levi were 137. And these are the sons of Gershom, Libni and Shimi, according to their family. And the sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari were Mali and Mushi. These are the houses of the families of Levi according to their families. And Amram took Jochebed for a wife, the daughter of his father's brother. So we still kind of have like marriage being kept in, like, I guess what would you consider that, Mom? Like a cousin?
It says married his father's sister.
So
And
that would be, yeah. So there's still like inter-family marriages,
that
not
would have been his aunt.
Yeah, that actually his aunt. That's kind of weird. So obviously this is pre-law of Moses. This is before the whole Leviticus chapter where he goes verse by verse by verse. Don't marry your next of kin. Don't marry your next of kin. He keeps reiterating no next of kin. So this is pre that. So this is before
and
that.
Who was born out of this?
Yeah. And she bore to him both Aaron and Masha and Miriam, their sister, and the years of the life of Amram were 132 years. There's a joke that I remember this Christian guy, Kent Hovind, said people that get, out of shape about, Adam and Eve's sons having to marry their sisters, well, Adam married his rib. So, let's, we can't go too crazy with that. So, and the sons of Izhar were Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. And the sons of Uziel were Mishael, Elzaphan, and Z3. And Aaron took for himself Elisabeth, daughter of Abinadab, sister of Naasan, as a wife, and she bore to him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And the sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, Abiasaph. These are the generations of Korah. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron, took for himself one of the daughters of Putiel as wife, and she bore to him Phinehas. These are the heads of the family of the Levites according to their generations. This is Aaron and Masha, whom Elohim told to bring out the children of Yasharal out of the land of Egypt with their forces or armies. Same thing. Okay. So that was Exodus chapters 1 to 6. I'm going to now give the floor to my brother Joshua, who's going to be continuing our portion today he's actually going to be doing the prophet portion for us. Isaiah 27, chapter 27 to 29. So whenever you're ready, bro, I'll let you take over. Actually, let me first make a new recording before we do that.